Welcome to season 3 of CFMA's Chat with the Chair. I'm your new host, CFMA's 2022-2023 Chair, Tom Borgia. For those of you that have watched the Chat with the Chair previously, this season will be a little bit different. Instead of getting to know guests in a traditional setting, I will be asking guests 9 rapid fire questions, and they'll have the opportunity to ask me anything at the end of the meeting. Today's guest is Steve Tenney, construction industry consultant at Borgia KDV and former CFMA chair. Thanks for joining me today, Steve.
Absolutely. Look forward to the conversation.
All right. Glad to have you as my first guest. Let's get started with the questions. So question number 1, what's something most people don't know about you?
So obviously you start with the hardest question, because I know as soon as I give you a response, someone out there will say, yeah, I already knew that about Steve, but here's what I'll share with you. I went to college at Northwest Missouri State in Maryville, Missouri. Married my wife, Mindy, between our junior and senior year, and we've been married for over 40 years. We have 3 sons and 3 grandsons.
All right. Well, congratulations on that. That makes my 16 years of marriage seem very short compared to your 40. So congratulations on that.
Well, especially when my oldest grandson is 18. So that should really put things in perspective.
That is for sure. That is for sure. Well, great job with the first question. Here's number 2. How did you get into the construction industry?
After college, I joined in a public accounting firm. I did work on several contractors at that time, and that really enhanced the respect I already had for craftspeople out there in the field, looking at a set of plans or a document or an idea and transitioning that into a finished product that they take a great deal of pride in. And as I left the public accounting side, I joined one of those construction clients and was there for about 7-8 years, and continued to grow that appreciation for what they do. And I like the grittiness of the work, if you will, of getting out there and checking a job site and having a conversation with the men and women of construction. That was always exciting. And so I just almost immediately appreciated the construction side and stuck with it. So after I left the heavy highway side, I joined a commercial construction company, became one of the owners there, was there for about 22 years. Thought, hey, this has been a great run. I need to make sure there's opportunity for others in that position. So I looked towards a transition out, successfully transitioned out and joined Borgia KDV with their focus on construction again. And now I'm dealing with some folks that used to maybe be friendly competitors, and I'm trying to help them with their organization and their systems. And I just love the industry. I don't have the skill sets of the people that work for contractors, but I certainly appreciate what they're capable of doing.
That's a great answer, and it's a great way to give back to an industry that's done so much for you as well.
Absolutely.
So next one, lighter question. What's your favorite sports team?
We've got an affiliate with the Chicago Cubs here in Des Moines, and my wife is probably 3rd generation, if not 4th generation Chicago Cubs. So to maintain happiness in our household, I'll go with Chicago Cubs.
If you weren't to maintain happiness, what would the answer be?
I'd still probably go with the Cubs. They're nice and close, and I love the opportunities that they provide for a successful season sometime again.
I could appreciate that. I'll share this with you as well. I am actually a diehard Chicago Cubs fan myself. And the interesting thing is people ask, hey, have you ever lived in the Midwest? You ever lived in Chicago? How did you get to be a Cubs fan? And the simple answer is, when I was in T-ball as a 5-year-old, the first team I was assigned to was the Cubs. And it stuck with me ever since. I still have that Cubs uniform from when I was 5, and I will live or die with the Cubs, good, bad, or indifferent. So we've been through a lot of good years, a lot of bad years, but through and through, I am a fan of the Cubs. So we have something in common, Steve.
There we go.
All right. Question 4. What are you excited about work-wise these days?
After 30 years directly in the industry, I'm really excited about the role that I have here at Borgia KDV. It's allows me to do all the things that I love doing as a CFO and certainly as a member of CFMA, and that's helping other folks. it is exciting to see a relatively young firm focus on an industry that I love and really very passionate about making sure that we're making a difference in those contractors' lives. A lot of folks are the two men in the truck or a small specialty trade, and being able to see the impact on them as we talk through things, which could be about WIP, it could be about cash flow, cash management, you name it. It's an area that I have a great deal of excitement for. We wear so many hats as a CFO, to not have to have that HR hat on and some compliance related hats on. I'm just getting the opportunity to do what I really enjoy and love, and doing with the firm that's been great to work with.
That's great. Great to hear. Next question. What song do you know every word of?
Yikes. I'm not very good at words. I usually make up words when I'm singing. So I would have to say, maybe I could say, happy birthday to you, something like that. But for the real singing, I'll leave that up to my wife, Mindy, and my son, Josh, who are both strong karaoke folks. I can go there because I can read the words at least that they're singing and appreciate it. But I'm not the singer in this family.
I'm happy to share. I'm not the singer in our family either, unless it's secluded in the shower and then nobody's listening to me anyway. So I can appreciate that. Next up, what three things should every construction financial professional have in their desk?
Yeah, when I thought about maybe this question in particular, I thought, well, what goes in a desk anymore? So I thought, well, maybe it's not what goes in a desk, but what goes on a desktop. And so I kind of looked at that and thought, well, what would the important links or reference points be? And this is not just a plug because I love CFMA, it's a plug because it's a great resource. So I would say, if we aren't looking at cfma.org for a lot of answers, Connection Cafe, so many things can get answered just through that one point of contact. That's got to be one of the tools in the toolbox, if you will, or apps on the desktop. Another one, you might be able to see some things behind me. It's related to the Construction Industry Alliance for Suicide Prevention. As one of the trustees, I think the focus that CFMA started in terms of providing a beacon, an opportunity to address mental health challenges and suicide within the industry. There's, again, tools in the toolbox for a different perspective of what's involved with construction. It's not the happy topic, but it's a topic that we need to break the barriers and talk about as we go through that. I'd say the third app or tool or connection on my desktop is probably local news. Construction, for all it is still a local business. You can be worldwide, but you're going to be dealing with local suppliers, local subcontractors, local license requirements and permitting and everything else. So pay attention to your local markets wherever you happen to be. And if you're in multiple markets, make sure you're connected that way. So those would probably be the three things that I think probably drive either opportunity for tools or keeping a pulse on what's going on in your marketplace.
Okay, that's really good advice. I appreciate you sharing that, Steve.
Yeah.
Next up, lighter question. What's your beverage of choice?
It used to be just regular Mountain Dew. As you get to the point in life where I'm at, you better be shifting to Diet Dew. So Diet Dew is actually my drink of choice. I'm not a heavy alcohol drinker by any means, but I do enjoy my Diet Dew kind of afternoon on.
No problem with that. And I certainly understand the diet versus the regular. I should probably be in that boat myself. So I can share with you, I love a great glass of Cabernet, but my favorite drink is actually a glass of ice cold milk, believe it or not. And I don't even need the cookies. Just give me a glass of milk with a couple ice cubes in it, and I'm a very happy camper. I'm a very simple guy, glass of milk, and I'm good to go.
So if you do have a cookie preference with it, what is it?
I'm a chocolate chip cookie. I don't get into any of the fancy stuff. You give me a chocolate chip cookie and a glass of milk, and I'm content. I'm content. Maybe that's my black and white bean counter brain at work, but yes, give me a chocolate chip cookie and a glass of milk and we're golden. We're golden. So
fantastic.
All right, next up, what have you learned about being a leader?
I think for me, and everyone operates differently, for me, it's listen carefully and consider the impact and the opportunities that your decisions will have. At times I've said you got two ears and one mouth, and there's a reason for that. So I think listening is an important step of being a leader, but then you do need to cause action to happen. So I would say whatever that action is, take responsibility for those actions, be appreciative of the individuals that have their faith and confidence in you as a leader, and make sure you allow them to stretch and to grow as individuals.
For sure. Really good answer. How about the best piece of advice you've ever received?
I don't know if this is from my mom or who, but it was be yourself. You can change, you can improve, you can modify behaviors, but be yourself. And for me, a lot of times when we're in family events, laughter is one of the things that I appreciate about being together. Now, there's high emotions at all times, but when you can have a good laugh with somebody, it brings you together. And so I'd say be yourself. And for me, it's usually a pretty good laugh around that.
For sure. And that certainly would hold true for at work, at home, in the community, with friends, wherever we are. That's a really good piece of advice. So I like that. All right, Steve, it's your turn. Ask me anything. What's your $1 million question for the chair?
So it is not what's your favorite cookie, but so as you look at our 40-year history of CFMA, and what's the one thing that you can look back at for inspiration, motivation, and skills to provide leadership for this entire organization for this upcoming year?
All right. Well, that is certainly not the easiest question I've had all day, but happy to answer. I think it's interesting for me to look back on my CFMA journey and really how I got to this point. There were a couple very important moments, but one that always comes back to me is really when I joined the Central Florida chapter a number of years ago. I had been a member of CFMA for a couple of years, but when I got to Orlando, I decided I really wanted to become a little bit more involved in the chapter. So I was on a couple of the committees, and I had met a number of the local members, and there were a couple in particular that took a liking to me, kind of put their arm around me and said, "Hey, you should be more involved. This is a great association with great people, and we have some leadership opportunities here, and we think you do a great job at it." And really, at that point in time, it was kind of a turning point in my CFMA career to realize that other people looked at me as a leader and somebody that could step up and get the job done and be able to give back to the association. And at that point, I ended up doing the local journey. So again, I served on committees and then was vice president in the Central Florida chapter, and then moved up into the president role. But being president here for 4 years, that actually opened the door to other opportunities for me as well. I had the opportunity to go to Spring Creek. I had the opportunity to be in the mentoring program, and then join some committees at a national level and really see the power of CFMA. So the pivotal moment really was a handful of people in Central Florida putting their arm around me and saying, "Hey, you can do this. You should be a leader." And I think that was the motivation that I needed to step up and really take charge locally at the chapter level. And I really still have that fire in me today. I mean, sitting here, we're joining the new CFMA year as of April 1st, and I'm very excited and motivated to lead the charge. The interesting thing here is we've been an association for just over 40 years now. We've had many great leaders before me that have done just such great work, and I'm up to the challenge and honored and humbled by the opportunity to jump in and continue to lead CFMA into the future.
Fantastic. Well, be prepared for the unexpected as well as the expected, because it's a great journey, and so proud to have you heading up the leadership for this upcoming year.
Well, I appreciate that. I'm looking forward to it. I've had a number of great people tell me along the way, including yourself, step back and enjoy the journey and enjoy the ride. And I've really had a great opportunity the last couple of years to do that, and look forward to doing it again this year. So, Steve, that was a lot of fun. It was great getting to know a little bit about you today. I'm glad that we share the Chicago Cubs in common. That makes me very happy, and appreciate you joining me. And to the viewers at home, we appreciate you watching, and be sure to join me next month when our Chat with the Chair guest will be Christian Geisman from the Puget Sound chapter in the Pacific Northwest. He'll have some great insights, and I'll make sure that I've got a couple of tough questions for him as well. So, Steve, thanks for your time, and look forward to connecting here at the conference.
Looking forward to it. Thanks, Tom.
All right. Take care, guys.
Yeah.